So, what kind of troubles did you have with it?
It's yeah, it's been something. Okay, so um, where to even start? So first off, I had to deal with DNS stuff, right?
Yeah.
And basically, so I'm using tunneling from Cloudflare so that it goes from them directly into my box. I don't have to do like reverse proxying or anything like that, which is kind of helpful. So I had to create separate tunnels, which not a big deal. Um, and
Are you
then
recording
one,
now?
what's that?
Are you recording now?
Yeah,
Oh, sweet. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
I just
Um,
need to watch my what I say.
no, I'm not worried about it. Um, but yeah, so went through and had to do DNS and everything. And then from there, I had to start working on like the back end to make sure that it was actually talking to things the way that it should. Um, and I was running into all kinds of weird issues. And basically, some of the stuff I ended up having to do was I had to change my entire network structure on the actual server. So I went from uh, using Nginx or whatever it's called to Traffic. And so I had to rebuild all of that, like all the network components where the containers can talk to each other. So you have like a, the front end container and database container and the back end. So I had to get all of that redone, reworking. Ooh, that's crazy bright. Why are you so bright? Anyways, and then from there, uh, I found out that my actual settings were problematic because there wasn't a good way to separate. Uh, Initially, there wasn't a good way to identify if I was on my development environment or my production environment. So what I ended up having to do in my back end, which the settings kind of drives everything, right? But I ended up splitting it out so that there's a base set and then dev and production. And I've made it so that it can understand what environment it's in without me actually having to change anything, which is really, really nice. Like there's one thing I do have to change. I just have to identify that the environment is dev through the environmental the env file. So the the secrets file. You know what I'm saying? So in this one, and I'm not going to show you because it has all my secrets. It has that the environment is dev, and my entire development environment runs off of this Docker Compose, whereas my production has a separate Compose that it runs. So this for the production version, this has its secret file next to it, um, which contains prod. Um, so I got that all working, got that all figured out, and then I had to deal with the databases and stuff. So basically, I kind of added in logic that we'll see which host we're on, right? So this is kind of looking at, hey, are we on dev or are we on prod? Um, but then uh, it, yeah, it appends -dev to the slug because the way the tenant stuff works is it's tenant slug dot bbwdc, right? Well, if I bring a production database over, that slug information is contained on the tenant itself, right? So if I just have this slug that says test and I'm on dev and I haven't done anything to massage how that works, and I do test.bbwdc.com, I go to production, not development. So I had to build in logic that takes whatever slug, and if we're in the development environment, it appends -dev behind it. And then if that happens, then we do an alias on the actual database connection so that, it also has there's an alias to the actual database name. It yeah, it made my brain hurt trying to get all of that working. But yeah, so then what I did was I took Codex, which is OpenAI's coding agent, and I want to test it out. I want to see how good it is or isn't. So I gave it the full blown, hey, here's my phase 2 of what I'm trying to do, and pointed it to a branch in my GitHub that has all of my stuff in it, and then gave it the parameters and everything I wanted it to do, what I wanted it to focus on, et cetera, and it in turn touched 45 files, whether that be creation or modification. And like some of the modifications that it did were pretty, reasonably sized. Like this views file added 736 lines of code to that one file. Yeah. So it was kind of nice messing with Codex because, it could do the pull request and everything, and just drop everything right into my GitHub. So I brought that code down, and now I'm working on actually getting it to tie together and work with what I already have, which has been a partial nightmare just because the split between production and development, it kind of messed with some of how the migrations worked for models and databases and stuff. It's been weird. But I still have a little bit in dev that's not working right. Like my workspace right here, I should see test dev as a box right here. I don't. I think it's this page itself. I don't think I've updated the logic in it so that it understands the difference between dev and production. Because that was a lot of what I had to do for like the side navigation, and then a lot of the admin dashboard was making it environment aware. But I mean, and I haven't touched any of this. I haven't cleaned any of this stuff up yet. But yeah, basically, stuff's here. I just got to go through, clean it up. I'm mostly okay. So there's test dev. Yeah, right here I should see the Streamline social manager as an app. But yeah, it's just been a lot more work creating the dev environment than I anticipated it to be. Like, I've been working on it for a week now.
Yeah, it sounds like an endeavor, but I mean, you can't put a price on having a good dev environment. It's well worth it, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, and at one point when I was trying to get things figured out, I ended up having to redo the server OS on my server.
Oh, that's not fun.
Yeah, so I had to rebuild all that. Luckily, I'm keeping the VM data and everything on a separate partition.
Right.
So it was just the OS and then pointing it back to those files and stuff. But yeah, man, it's coming along. I'd say I'm 90% done with having a dev environment in place, and I've started, probably 5% of going through and making sure phase 2 of SSM is in place.
Nice.
So, and once the dev environment's up and good, depending on how painful or not painful the rest of the phase 2 check is, I mean, Codex might be helpful, to get me 60, 70% there.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
This is pretty hardcore application. Can't wait to see it on the out there.
Actual out there, yeah.
Yeah.
Me too.
Oh, you'll get there. You're pretty dedicated.
Yeah. But anyways, so that's my update and where I'm at.
That's awesome, man. I know it doesn't look like you did that much on the front of it, but having another environment to test on is awesome.
Yeah, well, then occasionally I look at just the sheer amount of files and code and stuff that's been kicked out, and it's like, Jesus criminy. I have a outdated structure file. Because I found that it's handy to kind of have that out there. And again, it's outdated. I haven't rerun this stuff in a couple of weeks, but I mean, my back end at this point, it's sitting at 118 files, which isn't all that much, but then my front end, sitting at 154. So
Jeez.
And that's with leaving out certain areas, like the static files and the media, and yeah.
Right.
It's nuts. But yeah, the LLM was fun. I tried doing a honeypot for you guys, for you and a couple of my other friends.
A honeypot?
Yeah. So I went into, I wanted it to, ask, oh, well, what's your name? And then if it matched your first name or two other people, it would then ask for your last name. And then if it matched yours and or the other two people, it gave a interesting response that would be unique just for you guys.
Oh no. I can only imagine.
Yeah, but it didn't pan out. I ended up in a weird loop where it just endlessly asked for, hey, what's your first name? Oh, it's this. Cool. What's your last name? Oh, it's this. What's your first name? It's like, damn it.
You say that, but when I test it, I'm going to be appalled, I'm sure.
Yeah, right?
I'm offended already.
Yeah, but, I got... my LLM is... I need to build some character to it. But it's there. It's functioning. It is very tightly connected to my RAG. So that's where that embedding model is.
Right.
So the blob stuff here is what the LLM is reading from to provide information to people. But yeah, so it's getting there.
Yeah, this is solid.
But yeah. All right, well, that was it. That was all I wanted to show you.
Sweet. Yeah, nice work on that, dude.
Thanks.
That's cool.
All right.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
Later.